In 1937, a woman was tortured for 18 hours straight in a Moscow basement. Her screams were recorded, filed away, forgotten. It was legal. It was Russia. What you're about to see are the 10 worst torture methods ever used in Russian history. From the time of the Tsars to Stalin's reign of terror. Number 3 happened during your parents' lifetime. Let's start with number 10. Number 10. The Knout. Picture this. A whip made of multiple leather thongs, each thong tipped with metal hooks or wire. One strike tears flesh from bone. The punishment? 20 strokes. 50 strokes. Sometimes over 100. This was the Knout, Russia's signature torture weapon used for over 300 years. Victims rarely survived more than 20 lashes. The metal tips would catch on ribs and pull. Skin peeled away in strips. Public knouting happened in town squares across the Russian Empire. Thousands watched, children included. The knout was officially abolished in 1845, but it continued unofficially for decades after. But that's just number 10. It gets far worse. Number 9. Siberian Exile and the Knout March. You've been sentenced to Siberian exile, but first, you must walk there. From Moscow to Siberia, over 3,000 miles, in chains. No transportation, just walking. For months, sometimes years. This was the ETAP, the Exile March. Winter temperatures drop to -40 degrees. Summer brings mosquitoes so thick they can suffocate you. Many died on the road, their bodies left where they fell. Those who survived the march faced hard labor in Siberian mines, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, until you died. Between 1800 and 1917, over 1 million people were exiled to Siberia. 1 million. Think that's brutal? Wait until you see number 5. Number 8. The rack and the wheel, Russian style. Russia imported torture methods from Europe, but they made them worse. The rack stretched your body until joints dislocated. Standard. But in Russia, they added fire. Torches applied to your stretched limbs while you were on the rack. The combination of stretching and burning maximized agony. The breaking wheel worked differently in Russia. Instead of breaking bones systematically, they'd tie you to the wheel, then light a fire underneath. You'd slowly roast while being turned, like meat on a spit. Used extensively during the reign of Ivan the Terrible in the 1500s. Ivan personally attended these torture sessions. Sometimes he participated. But even that's not in the top 3. Keep watching. Number 7. Impalement. Stakes. The Russians learned impalement from their conflicts with the Ottoman Empire, then perfected it. A sharpened wooden stake, inserted through the rectum, driven through your body. But here's the Russian innovation. They'd plant stakes along roads leading to cities. Hundreds of stakes. Thousands sometimes. When enemies approached Moscow or St. Petersburg, they'd see forests of impaled bodies lining the roads for miles. Ivan the Terrible impaled over 3,000 people in Novgorod in 1570. All displayed along the road to Moscow. The message? This is what happens to traitors. Some victims survived for days, slowly sliding down the stake. Now we're entering the top 5. This is where Russian torture becomes uniquely horrifying. Before we continue, you need to know something. Number 5 happened in the 1800s. Number 3 was official Soviet policy in the 1940s. And number 1? Some survivors are still alive today. Here's number 6. Number 6. The Iron Spider and Hot Pincers. Imagine metal claws, heated until glowing red, then used to tear your flesh piece by piece. This was the Iron Spider, also called the Spanish spider in Russia. The heated claws would grip your skin, then pull, ripping away muscle, sometimes bone. Used on women, the Iron Spider targeted breasts specifically. Hot Pincers worked similarly. Red-hot metal tongs that grabbed and tore. Noses, ears, tongues, fingers, genitals. The torturer would methodically work through your body, piece by piece. Sessions lasted hours. You were kept conscious throughout. Used extensively during the time of troubles in the early 1600s. Political prisoners, accused witches, and religious dissenters were primary victims. But if you think that's barbaric, number 5 will shock you. Number 5. The freezing cell. Here's something uniquely Russian. You're locked in a stone cell in winter. No heat, no blankets, naked. Water is poured on the floor. Then on you. Temperature inside? -20 to -30 degrees Celsius. The water freezes. On the floor, on your skin, in your hair. You can't sit. You can't lie down. The ice cuts your skin. You must keep moving or freeze to death. But movement exhausts you. Eventually, you collapse. The ice envelops you. Death takes 8 to 12 hours. This method was used in Tsarist prisons throughout the 1800s, then revived in Stalin's Gulag system. It was called the ice cell, or freezing box. No fire, no violence. Just Russia's brutal winter weaponized. Thousands died this way in the gulags between 1930 and 1950. Thousands. And somehow, there are 4 methods even worse. Number 4. Salt mines and forced labor to death. The Solovetsky Monastery. Sounds peaceful, doesn't it? In the 1920s, the Soviets converted it into one of the first Gulag camps. Salt mines, timber cutting, stone quarrying, in Arctic conditions, 16-hour workdays, temperatures reaching -50 degrees. Food ration? 400 grams of bread. Watery soup. That's it. Average survival time? 6 months to 1 year. But here's what makes it torture rather than just hard labor. It was calculated. Soviet authorities knew exactly how long a human body could work under these conditions before death. They called it extermination through labor. Work quotas were set impossibly high. Failure to meet quota meant reduced rations. Reduced rations meant you couldn't work. Couldn't work meant punishment. Punishment meant death. A perfect system designed to kill while extracting maximum labor. Between 1929 and 1953, an estimated 18 million people passed through the Gulag system. Over 1.6 million died. That's more than the entire population of some countries. Now we're entering the top 3. This is where it gets truly dark. What you're about to see for number 3? Witnesses are still alive. Documented evidence exists in KGB archives. And it was systematic, scientific, bureaucratic. This is number 3. Number 3, the Conveyor. Sleep deprivation torture. It's 1937. Stalin's Great Purge. You've been arrested by the NKVD. You're in Lubyanka prison, Moscow. They don't beat you. Not at first. Instead, they simply don't let you sleep. Welcome to the Conveyor. How it works. Interrogation rooms. Teams of interrogators working in shifts. 8 hours each. You get no breaks, no sleep. Just questions. For days, weeks, sometimes months. Bright lights shine in your face constantly. You're not allowed to sit. If you collapse, they throw cold water on you, make you stand again. After 48 hours without sleep, you start hallucinating. After 72 hours, your mind begins to break. After a week, you'll confess to anything, everything. Crimes you didn't commit, people you don't know, conspiracies that never existed. The NKVD perfected this method. They documented it, studied it, optimized it. One victim, Menachem Begin, later wrote about enduring 18 days of the Conveyor. He said, death would have been mercy. But the genius of this torture? No marks, no physical evidence. You could be photographed for your show trial looking perfectly fine. Except your eyes. Dead. Broken. Thousands experienced the Conveyor during the Great Purge. Many confessed to being foreign spies, saboteurs, enemies of the people. Almost all confessions were false. Extracted through sleep deprivation that destroyed minds. The Conveyor was official NKVD policy from 1937 to 1953. Scientific. Systematic. Bureaucratic torture. And it's still used today in modified forms around the world. That's number 3, and somehow, there are still 2 methods worse. Number 2, the gas fan. Dushagubka. The year is 1936. The Soviet NKVD has a problem. Mass executions by shooting are too public, too messy, too psychologically damaging for executioners. They need something cleaner. The solution? The gas van. A truck. Windowless cargo area. Hermetically sealed. Victims loaded inside. Sometimes 50 people at once. The truck's exhaust is rerouted into the cargo area. As the truck drives, carbon monoxide fills the space. Death takes 15 to 20 minutes. The entire time the truck is moving. Driving to the burial site. By the time it arrives, everyone inside is dead. Corpses are unloaded and buried. Efficient, mobile, clean. The gas vans were used extensively during Stalin's purges, particularly in remote areas. No official records exist of how many died this way. Estimates range from tens of thousands to over 100,000. The Nazis later copied this method. The Soviet gas vans inspired the Nazi gas chambers. Let that sink in. Soviet innovation in mass murder technology. That's number 2. Which means there's one method even worse. And you've probably heard of it. Number 1 spans 70 years. It created millions of victims. It's documented in thousands of pages of archives. And some survivors are still alive today. This is the Gulag system. Number 1. The Gulag system. Systematic torture state. From 1918 to 1991, the Soviet Union operated the largest prison camp system in history. The Gulag. Not just one camp, over 30,000 individual camps spread across the Soviet Union, from the Arctic Circle to Kazakhstan, from Ukraine to the Pacific Ocean. At its peak, the Gulag held 2.5 million prisoners simultaneously. But it wasn't just imprisonment. It was systematic torture on an industrial scale. Let me describe a typical Gulag experience. You're arrested, often for nothing. Maybe you told a joke about Stalin. Maybe your neighbor denounced you to steal your apartment. You're sentenced to 10 years. No trial, no appeal. You're packed into a cattle car with 50 others. No heat, no bathroom, minimal food. The journey to Siberia takes 3 weeks. Many die in transit. You arrive at a logging camp in winter. Temperature, minus 40 degrees. Your barracks? Wooden planks, no insulation. Hundreds of prisoners packed together for warmth. Your food? 400 grams of bread, watery soup, once a day. Your work quota? Cut 5 cubic meters of timber. Every day. In deep snow. With hand tools. Fail to meet quota? Your rations are cut. Can't work without food? That's sabotage. Punishment. The punishment cell. The punishment cell is a wooden box. Too small to stand, too small to lie down. In minus 30-degree weather. You're left there for days. If you survive, back to work. Average life expectancy in the hardest Gulag camps? 2 winters. 2 winters. But here's what makes the Gulag unique. It was bureaucratic. Every prisoner was documented. Every death was recorded. Every confession was filed. The NKVD, later the KGB, kept meticulous records. Interrogation techniques were standardized. Torture methods were officially documented and taught. The Conveyor method, temperature torture, psychological breaking, all in training manuals. This wasn't chaos. This was systematic. The Gulag produced its own economy. Timber, gold, uranium, coal. Prisoner labor built entire cities, dug canals, constructed railroads. The White Sea Canal, built by Gulag prisoners between 1931 and 1933, killed over 25,000 workers. One canal, 25,000 dead. And it was all documented, celebrated even. Soviet propaganda praised the Gulag as reforging criminals into good citizens. Between 1918 and 1956, conservative estimates say 18 million people passed through the Gulag. Over 1.6 million died in the camps. That's documented deaths. The real number is likely much higher. And here's the thing. The Gulag didn't end with Stalin's death in 1953. It continued. Smaller, less deadly, but it continued. The last Gulag camps closed in 1991. 1991. 33 years ago. Some Gulag survivors are still alive today. Still traumatized, still haunted. The Gulag wasn't medieval torture. It was modern, industrial, Bureaucratic. An entire state apparatus designed to torture and kill its own citizens while extracting maximum economic value from their suffering. That's number 1. 10 methods, centuries of suffering, millions of victims. From the Knout to the Gulag, from Ivan the Terrible to Joseph Stalin. These weren't committed by monsters. They were committed by governments, by bureaucrats, by normal people following orders. The scariest part? The Gulag system only ended 33 years ago. Some victims are still alive. Some perpetrators were never punished. Which torture method shocked you the most? Comment a number 1 through 10. And if you think this history needs to be remembered, share this video. Understanding this darkness isn't about dwelling on the past. It's about recognizing the signs before it happens again. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.